Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Welcome to the studio. Let's take a listen to what you guys have been working on. Why do I even do that first camera angle when I'm immediately going to switch to this one? It's hard to say. Okay, let's make sure that I'm doing stuff the correct way. So far, it's looking like I am. So let's see what you guys have been up to. Okay. Hi. Shit. My bad. Here we go. This one's called Move in Final Master. Wow. That's very ambitiously titled. Am I really quiet? Do I need to turn my mic up? Okay, this is pretty sick. It's very, like I'm working out at the gym music. I guess I have two concerns. One is that we're really bright on some of these elements. Like that, the sharpness of it's a bit much. It's a bit in my face. Like, let's grab the EQ. So it's just a little bit like too bright almost, and not necessarily overall like in the master. I think it's mostly just that like that tearing bass sound. And then the other thing is that I feel like the drop was a bit too short. Like I was like rocking out. I think you need to come up with like a B type, like a B drop. Before we go to the breakdown, because I don't think we earned that breakdown yet. What up, Kaidia? So the other thing too is I like is it West Coast? Is the West Coast like hip hop with that with the vibraty lead sound? Whatever that is. I like that melody, but I feel like it's existing only in the high frequencies. I'm not hearing like much tone to it. It's almost like it's the fundamental frequency or something is. Even you might have to add like an octave down oscillator with it so that we can hear the melody a little bit more in the mid range and less just up top. You can almost see it. Like see how many harmonics there are that go right up to 20 kilohertz. Yeah, I'd play with that because I think that melody is really good and catchy, but it's just kind of existing too high up in the register. Yeah, it's whatever this sound is right here. It's quite high harshness. It's sick. Like, the idea of the track is definitely dope. The fact that it's only 2.5 minutes long means that you could probably make a B section drop, then do the breakdown, then build us back up, and then do that same B section drop again. And now we're over 3 minutes long, and I think that that's going to flow a bit better, because when you're in it, when you're rocking out, it sounds great. So maybe chill out on the harshness, add a little bit more low end to that West Coast hip hop lead thing, and probably make the drops twice as long. Those are my suggestions. I know it says Final Master, but it also says Final Master version 1, which implies that there's probably going to be a Final Master version 2 and potentially a Final Master version 10 or 20. So anyway, okay, cool. I like it. It's badass. Let's check this one out. It's called 1 Year Past. Nice. Okay. Okay, that Discord sound got me. This is really cool. We're starting off with a couple bangers. I think my biggest issue with this right now is that the drums, like the kick and the snare, they don't have much mid-range. Like it's very snappy and there's lots of transient and stuff, but like I'm mostly hearing just transient, like tick, 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 the snappy sounds of the kick and the snare. And I think that it should be a bit more full-bodied. So add in some mid-range, because the kick, I think, has a lot of sub-range to it. I'm feeling a big like thump down there, but there's nothing really connecting it to like the higher frequencies of the snap. So it almost sounds like we have the thump and we have the snap, but they're kind of two separate instruments as opposed to one kick drum that spans the whole frequency spectrum with something. So maybe try to get a little bit more mid-range into it. And then I think you got to like finish writing it. I don't know, a minute and a half. It's a fun track. I like all the funny sounds. It's just like an overall silly good time. So it's a great track. I would probably make it longer. I'd build it back up and then drop slightly different. You know, like I could hear it maybe at this tempo. It could be like a psytrance type like reference for a moment in the drop. Because it's already kind of, I don't know how fast it is, but it's pretty fast. Yeah, I could definitely hear like a 16th note, like psytrance part at some point. So keep going with it. Try to get some more mid-range and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe girth or like, more full-bodied. There needs to be more mid-range to connect the thump to the snap of the transient in both your kick and your snare or clap, whatever it is. Besides that, very, very cool. I said girth on purpose. You could argue that I say everything on purpose, because if I don't know if I could accidentally say something. I have to tell my mouth to move in a certain way. So I feel like that's a non-statement. Okay, let's check out Fresher. Click.
See my click in the club, my
See my click, 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 see my see my click, 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 see my click.
see my click in the club.
See my click, 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 see my click, click, click,
See my click in the. See my click, click.
pressure.
You ain't get shit, dog. See my click, click.
Pressure.
You ain't get shit, dog.
Your body fresher than my mouth. Fresher than my motherfucking
Ain't nobody fresher than my motherfucking Ain't nobody fresher than my motherfucking
Okay, let's stop it there for a sec. This is dope. Really like this track. I liked it the last time you sent it in. It sounds more developed now, if my memory serves me correctly. The problem I'm having is right in this section, the trap kind of snare does not cut through the mix. When it gets to like, I think it's this.
pressure.
In that section, the snare feels correct, but in this like big like wah part, it just kind of fades in with the rest of the mix. And I'm not sure if that's maybe a side chaining thing or maybe a master thing. When you do, when this part happens, the master bus is just getting absolutely hammered and the snare doesn't have any room to kind of do its punchiness. But there's two parts. There's kind of this wide open brr, brr, and then there's the more wibby wobby parts. And the wibby wobby parts, the snare sounds fine, but the big wide open parts, the snare kind of just fades into the mix a bit too much for my liking. Let's keep going. That's pretty much the only. I mean, I thought the intro was maybe a little long and not as exciting as the rest of the track. It just kind of sounds like an intro, and I'm sure it would work in a mix. But from like a listening standpoint, it wasn't terrible, but it doesn't stack up to like the drop part. Okay, let's keep listening.
Fresher than my motherfucking see my click, 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 see my click, click, click,
We rollin' deep in the club.
see my click, click, click,
Fresher. Yeah, it's a dope track. I would maybe go one more time. I would maybe drop one more time and maybe put the emphasis of that last drop on the wibby wobby parts, the weepy weppy ripper ripper, and try to like build a drop out of that or something just to one last time. Or you could even stick it at the end of this drop to make the last drop a little longer. I just think it's too sick of a track to just end 2 minutes and 40 some seconds into it. So the only technical advice I think is regarding the snare and how it's not punching through the mix during those big wide open moments. And then subjectively, the intro I think could be spiced up to get us way more excited for what's going to happen than it is right now. Right now, it just kind of feels like it's like a placeholder almost. I'd probably bring like the motherfucking click or whatever, like bring some vocals in sooner, just like get us hooked harder and quicker. I think those two things, better snare or not better snare. The snare sounds great. Better snare mix in that part. And then a more enticing intro that's like, oh man, I can't wait for this drop to happen. Right now, it's just kind of like, this is cool, I guess, you know? And then when the drop happens, you're like, damn. But anyway, I think it's sick. Good job. Keep going. I don't know why I say that. It's like as if you're not going to keep going. You're like going to quit unless I tell you to keep going. Okay, this one's called Draw ID with Snare. Oh, nice. We got a snare with this one by Draw Pop. What's going on with this, Draw Pop? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? It doesn't look like a shelf to me because see how it's all broken up and kind of pixelated up there? That's usually like MP3 style artifacts. What's the actual bit rate of it? Oh, what the hell, Drop Up? It's a 192. Why would you do that? Okay, I think I think I like the track. Okay, so there's a few spots like right here. It's just kind of like a pause. You could have a yoink goink. You know, wonk goink gong, da na 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 na, like a yoink goink. Like if you can make a bass sound go yoink goink, I think that would be cool. There's a couple little spots where you could put in some other stuff. Now, I think my main technical thing to say about this is the effects are kind of just always going. We're either getting like white noise going up or white noise going down, or like white noise with like the resonant kind of low pass filter type thing. There's always kind of effects happening, and I wonder what this part would sound like if the effects kind of cut after maybe the first like 4 quarter notes or something. Right there, you could go. Right here, you could have those swishes and swooshes. They could build right up, and right here could go yoink oink, and then cut all the effects off. So we just have whoop, 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 whoop. Like, I think it would be kind of. I think the effects are a bit overdone, and it's just kind of covering the track with a bit of a satin finish. So maybe play around with that. Definitely export it as a 320 next time. Yeah, like I can't stop hearing the yoink oink. I'm not saying get rid of the effects. I'm just saying that I feel like there's just constantly a white noise effect happening over the whole track. And I think probably being a bit more choosy with when you have that and when you don't, as opposed to it just kind of blanket carpet bombing the whole track. I think that's going to make, I think you're talking about the PWM. What? No, I'm just like, if you just listen to like the top frequencies, there's just always kind of almost sounds like a crowd noise or something. Like, there's always kind of a or it's. So I don't know. I'm not suggesting you make a drastic change to that. But if just try taking your first drop and right here go boom boink, and then take out all the effects and let this part right here just be dry. And I mean, I'm not saying you need to only use effects in the build-up or whatever, but I think it's just kind of like using them in the right times and not overusing them. Hello, thank you for the kind words. Okay. I can't read that, but worlds with a Z. Yeah, and then my other thing is that I feel like the one semitone thing, the da 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 da, it's cool, but I think you need to add a little bit of variety, and that yoink oink thing might fix that. But I just, the whole track is kind of going yodi dodi 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 doi, yodi dodi 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 doi, or something in that nature, and I don't dislike it. I like it, but it kind of gets a little old, so I would try to figure out an interesting creative way of maybe switching up the melody in some areas of the track, and then render it out as not a 192, and you're golden. Okay, I sound kind of like when the riser is always there. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say anyway. Okay, this one's called Life Story by Aiden Dodge.
So confused as a small child. Didn't get my mental strength till I was 9. Always got looked down on by all my superiors, and it taught me that I'd always be inferior. I lost my innocence when I was just 5, and it was sad that I got a taste of real life. Always being forced to swallow my pride, even if it meant holding back tears that I want to cry. I grew up knowing that the world saw me differently. I had my problems, but nobody spared me sympathy. I didn't think I'd ever be worthy of dignity, because I grew up living life with no simplicity. But all these hardships led to me having imagery about how I was gonna fix these inconsistencies. I always dreamed that I would lead a solo symphony and clear clear my mind by spreading my thoughts lyrically. They tried to put me in an institute in 6th grade, but I said fuck no, cause I couldn't let that be my fate. I was misunderstood by kids who butchered me with hate. And I just prayed from there on out my life would change. I dreamed in 7th grade I'd make it big by high school. Fast forward freshman year and I'm still not the idol. Despite the struggle I just kept on pushing onward. Now I'm flying out to Denver for a concert. This is the life I thought I only ever depicted in my dreams. Cause based off the hardships in my life, that's the way it seemed. Made lots of mistakes along the way, but I hope no regrets. But I shall never forget.
Yeah, okay, so I feel like there's a few moments where the performance, the timing on the vocals,
I always dreamed that I would lead a solo symphony. I always dreamed that I would.
like I always dream feels maybe late,
I always dreamed that I would.
maybe early. I'm not sure. There's a few timing issues with the vocals, but I think the bigger issue here is that, hey, thanks, dude. I appreciate you saying that. I think the bigger issue is that when it gets to the chorus, the music doesn't really change.
I dreamed in 7th grade I make it. I'm flying out to Denver for a concert. This is the life.
Like if you take away the white noise swoosh, it almost feels like it's lost a little bit of energy. Like we still just have the piano that's kind of low passed, and you're kind of singing in the same range. You're kind of singing a similar melody. So I can kind of like logically put together that this is the chorus, but it's not screaming at me saying, hey, this is the chorus. So you could try some things, like you could do like a vocal pad of harmonies doing like a choir kind of ooh or ah, like have that come in nice and bright, and then your vocals can sit on top of that. You could maybe do a harmony or something. You could add a synth or some other instrument. There's lots of ways of doing it, but right now I didn't really feel like when we went from the verse to the chorus, it felt like that was a good moment. It just kind of sounded like it just happened. So I'd play around with that. My first inkling would be to put a pad of stacked vocal harmonies that are doing like the job of a synth, but it's your voice. What else did I?
Life with no simplicity.
I think some of the lines could be swapped out for more creative lines. Like I think there was a line that's like, when I was growing up. It's not that there's anything intrinsically wrong with the line. Let me make sure that's actually what you said.
Innocence when I was just 5 years alive. Always being forced to swallow my pride. Even if I've been holding back tears that I want to cry. I grew up knowing that the world's.
Yeah, I grew up knowing. I don't know. It's not necessarily that it's a bad line, but like even just like I came up, or just something that's just not so literal, I think, because there's quite a few lines in here that are a bit too face value for me. I think that if you could figure out a more creative analogy to use for each of the parts, or I don't know, like, metaphorically speaking as opposed to just like literally speaking what the song is about, I think that would go a long way. You don't have to say I want to cry, it's implicit in the line, holding back tears that I don't want to cry. Yeah, that's a good point. Holding back tears. Yeah, I mean, like holding back tears that I want to cry. There's got to be a better way of saying that. Holding back tears that. Oh God, I can't think of anything right now. But yeah, there's just a few lines that are just a little too like sentencey. It's just like, here's a sentence about how I'm feeling, as opposed to here's a creative interpretation or an interesting analogy that I came up with that you can maybe relate to, I think it'll go a long way.
Mistakes along the way, but I hope no regrets. But I shall never forget.
Top Daddy Beats.
And then imagine if you had your choir pads stacked harmonies of your voice, and then it does that key change and your choir or your vocal pads bend to that key. That would be a cool way of like tying those two ideas together.
Top Daddy Beats.
was chasing big dreams, golden gigs, only though I'm only 18. Now I'm just hoping this will get me in a big league, cause I just wanna see the world like I'm Big Steve. Say the hobby is my passion, the tuxedo with the glasses is my fashion. The one I'm most I will always keep on lashing. There's no code, there's just indefinite action. This is a life that I want now, sipping kombucha.
I also feel like, you know, I think you're using like that chorusy effect on your voice maybe too much. It's like it's too fancy. Like it takes away from the authenticity. I think that you could use it for certain parts or as a layer, but I think if you want this to come across as authentic, have your vocal kind of in the center, not necessarily dry, but just sounding like you singing or talking or rapping or whatever you're doing. And then add in these chorus effects and stuff in certain parts or at certain levels to for taste, as opposed to just like blank. Like so far, every vocal we've heard has been super wide and chorusy. So it doesn't necessarily, it sounds almost too produced or something. I find that the drier you can make your vocals and they still sound good and like they fit in the mix, the more authentic it sounds, because it just sounds like you singing through a microphone as opposed to like you singing into a microphone and going through 47 effects, trying to make it sound bigger than life. So it's usually a careful balance of like using fancy effects when appropriate, but also dialing it back and being like, here's my raw vocal because this is like a raw, authentic moment.
Now, sipping kombucha underneath the golden sun now. This is a dream and I'll make it happen somehow. I'll be owning nice cars and a big house. I wish it'd be bigger than right now. Fly high, touch the sky, never fall down. To the top, never stop, give my all now. And I ain't never gonna touch the ground. But there's a part of me that doesn't wanna change. There's a part of me that wants to stay the same. There's a part of me that's got to grow in age. There's a part of me that doesn't wanna change. There's a part of me that wants to stay the same. There's a part of me that's scared to grow in age. Cause I don't want that change.
So like going back to the vocal effect thing, you got to think about like the timelessness. You know, timelessness is never a bad thing. There's in no situation is something being timeless, is that a bad thing? But what you're doing with all these effects is you're kind of time stamping this with this style of effect, this style of mixing. Like if it was just your voice, that's timeless. That's your voice. Like you can't be like, oh, that sounds so 2000 and whatever. Like it's just your voice. Right? It's kind of like an Instagram filter or like a Snapchat filter. Like sometimes they can make you look better, but it's not really you. And if every single time I see like on like dating apps and stuff, I've seen people, women that I'm sure it goes both ways, but I just don't look for men on dating apps. I've seen some that just have filters on every single picture. I'm like, I don't even know what you look like. Like, you're not going to have that filter when I see you in real life. So I feel like that's the analogy that I go to. It's okay to use those effects for fun and for effect, but I think bringing it back to like an authentic, more dry voice for certain parts of the song will have a good effect. And then when you add that chorus and stuff back in, it has an impact and it sounds very like artsy and creative, as opposed to just being on the whole thing. In terms of like the instrumental, it sounds great. I think besides the thing I said about like this chorus, even though I know that it might not be technically like a chorus because it does it and then it goes to this new kind of beat, like key change thing, but I still think that you're missing like, I think you're missing your opportunity to have that be a big moment when it gets to.
I know, despite the show, couldn't let that be my fate. I'm flying out to Denver for a concert.
Yeah, right here. I feel like that was a missed opportunity to have like a really big moment. And And I think you should at least try the vocal thing, because I think it could sound cool. And if you can stack like a 4-part harmony, it'd just be like, whoa. And then if you can bend it up to like the key change, it would tie the two songs together a lot better. I mean, maybe it's one song, but to me it sounds like two different songs. Okay, let's hear the flute solo.
The ground, but there's a part of me that needs to grow in age. 'Cause I don't want the change.
Okay, so I didn't skip over a full flute solo. I skipped over a short flute solo. But it sounds great. This part, this is like lo-fi beats to study to, you know? I think it's great. Let's see what I'm assuming that like goes to the next song. Anyway, that's what I think. I think it's cool. Good job. Let's check out verbatim country step. Oh my God. I'm scared.
Rolling in the palace, but you're too tame. I ain't for the south, but I appreciate the wood grain. Never calling me about the north, it's only two, man. I'm in the same building, but the flows and view change. I ain't for the waiting now. I bought a Rari and I did it just to hear the sound. God say, really about to lose all its meaning now. Guess you love to travel when I pull up and you leaving town. Say you're married to the game and I'm just running down. I got a flight in the morning, I see what you've been trying to do when I'm a mission to border. You think I never pay attention? In my mind I'm recording. I'm about to win and ruin all your goals and dreams out of boredom. Riding around at homies like we run the city. Looking fresh and feeling like a millie. Moving silence, you can never hear me. If you gotta find them when you see me, run it.
Trying to show you what we came to do. Boss.
Okay, so far, I like it. It's cool. The snare is aggressive.
Rolling in the palace, but you're too.
Like, you can see the snare very clearly cutting above the MP3 sound of this. I'm assuming it's kind of like a bootleg or something, right? But it's cool. I like the flow. The snare is just, whoa.
I'm a mission to border, you think I know.
And in terms of how the order that I listen to stuff, yeah, it's just however it loads. It's a sloppy ham in the face. Wow. That is a very colorful statement. A slappy ham, I don't know which is worse, sloppy ham or slappy. I think sloppy ham is worse.
Lose all its meaning now. Guess you love to travel.
You could argue that I think all ham is flaccid, although I'm not sure I really want to have that discussion necessarily. The snare, so the snare between here.
God say, really about to lose all its meaning now. Guess you love to.
Like, it's quite drastically different. I wonder what it would sound like if you just took this snare and you put it back there.
Moving silence, you can never hear me. If you gotta find them when you see me, run it.
Like, this snare is almost too buried, especially in this little fill. It's almost like there's a hint of a snare in there. Like, I can tell there's a snare in there, but I can't really hear it.
Trying to show you what we came to do. Boss, only talking, making major moves. Rolls Royce, no top. Me, no one will ever stop. Me against the world, I got my back against the wall. No, I'm hellbound, but I'm well now. On the road with riches, I can never lay around. So don't make a sound unless you make it loud. Everybody scream, everybody scream, everybody scream. That's my only thing, yes. I'm a born winner, a Jordan 23. All my people G's until the party cease. Run it.
Is that going to be the actual ending at the end, or is that just kind of like you fading out the idea? Reference Take by Cloud. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, a bit confusing, but cool. I think that that's actually a great maybe summation of not necessarily the whole track, but I did kind of feel like at some point it was just a bunch of cool stuff. Like everything that was happening was cool and like, wow. But towards the end, it kind of sounded like one big fill. Like it kind of sounded like one big Phillip. Just kind of like rocking out, and especially with the snare that keeps hitting on the downbeats and stuff like that. I really like all the moments that happen, but it's almost like you've stacked so many moments kind of right after each other that it's all just like a selection of moments and it's hard for me to get into the groove. I'm not sure what the fix for that necessarily would be, but I think that right now it just at the end here, it just kind of gets a bit like wow wow wee woo. Like all that's all sick and everything, but the flow, I guess, or like the groove is a little hard to get into when it's just like, it's almost like a production solo. It's, you know how somebody can do a guitar solo and they can do a guitar solo for way too long over a song. We're like, okay, we get it. You're good at guitar. Well, this is kind of like a production solo at towards the end of this track where you've got lots of really impressive and cool sounding things, but I'm just kind of sitting here kind of like, as a producer, I'm enjoying it, but I'm wondering, as somebody who isn't a producer, I'm not sure how they would necessarily interpret this because they might not be appreciating the sound design and the wicka wickas and the 303 sound that comes in but doesn't do anything. I really like that 303 thing that came in, like the acid bassline sounding thing, but it doesn't really, it just kind of is there for a fill and then doesn't really deliver it. It's kind of like a bait and switch. I was like ready for like an acid part, but then it never happened. So I think you've got like a lot of good ideas on the back end of this, but maybe they just need to be arranged or like picked through a little bit more strategically with the whole song arrangement in mind, instead of kind of focusing in on like a measure at a time and making each measure as good as it can be and as exciting as it can be. Maybe think of the whole picture a little bit more. But yeah, it's very cool. It's a good groove for most of it.
Bang, time to show you what we came to do. Boss, only talking, making major moves. Rolls Royce, no.
Like there are there's lots of points where you get into a groove. I think it's just mostly towards the end where you're doing a whole bunch of wicka wicka was and irras, you know. I think it might just be a little too over the top in terms of excitement and variety. Sometimes we need a little bit of stability in our lives. Okay, and with that piece of device, I'm going to go to the next song. Thank you for sending verbatim. Okay, this one's called oh god, I can't remember. I don't remember how he said to say his name. Tjerbor. I think he said it's German, and I have to say both of them, and I don't know how to say a T and a T and a J at the same time. It's called Simplicity Volume 3. Wow. Okay. It sounds like what's that Confessions Part 2 by like Usher or something. Let's go. There, I even lined it up. It's in B minor. I'm already a little bit sus about that. Wait a minute, what was that?
please, no oven break. I said no! No!
That's funny. I like how you're like fighting with yourself about putting breakbeats in this track. Okay, it was very fun. I feel like I have a similar thought regarding this as I do the last track, although this style of music may play a little bit into the kind of complexity a bit more, but I'm not sure what the central theme was. Everything I heard was sick, and I was like bopping the whole time. There's all kinds of crazy, wacky, woo-woo stuff happening, but I'm struggling to detect a major theme amongst. To me, it kind of sounds like a journey that I went from point A to point B, as opposed to when, I guess with a normal, like a track that has a more traditional, I guess, structure, it's more like you have a home base, right? You have like this home base, which is the motif. It's almost like playing Age of Empires or like the original Warcraft or something, where you have this main area that's like your home and you know it and it's familiar and comfortable. And then you go out on little expeditions and explore things, but you come back and you bring all your resources back and you're back in your comfy spot. And then you go out for another little journey and you find things and you come back. And that's not to say that this is wrong or bad, but I feel like that's my main thing, is that I enjoyed this whole thing, but I have no idea how to explain this song to somebody. I can't hum it to them. I can't be like, hey, do you know that song that goes, era what, or whatever, like the hook or the main theme. If I had to nitpick, that's kind of what it is. It's needs more breaks. Yeah. And that's not to say that it can't be all wacky and crazy. It's just like maybe periodically you come back to your home base and you do something with a melody, or you do something with a certain rhythmic element that serves as a motif or a theme. And then you go and do all your wacky shit as an expedition and you come back and you reference that theme again. That kind of gives the track an identity. That's more of a traditional style thing. So again, I'm not saying that you need to change it or fix it. That's just my really only thought, because the production's great and it's all fun and like it was an enjoyable listen. I just don't know necessarily how to relate to it, because I don't know which part I'm supposed to be relating to the strongest, if that makes sense. But in terms of like a funky, well-produced, cool sound design track, it's really good. You did a great job. I don't think I really have any like technical issues. I liked how kind of shitty your voice sounded when you were yelling. Like it's kind of like overdriving. It almost sounds like you're like yelling into your laptop mic or something like that. I think it kind of works in like a funny way.
No. I said no.
I think that's hilarious. So 10 out of 10, I enjoyed. All right, 7. Oh my, look at this sausage. step off. Almost finished, just working on some quirks and features, as Doug DeMuro would say.
You are looking at the actual models of spacecraft now being developed by agencies of the United States government. This is an Apollo spacecraft designed for elliptical orbit of the planet.
Okay, so this is pretty badass, but I think it's pushed too hard I know the style. I know it's supposed to be, and it's accomplishing that. But just like, it's so aggressive, especially when those kind of cinematic drums come in. They're really tickling my ears in a non-consensual way. And the S's on the dialogue too, they're all kind of like do. You didn't open Ozone, so it can be said that I mastered my track adequately. Yeah, I think you're sounding pretty good, like in terms of the master. But yeah, there's a lot of frequencies piling up in this kind of 3 to 6K range. So I'd be careful with that, especially when you're pushing it so hard. Those frequencies really hurt the ears when they're overdone. And I think that there's a few things, like those cinematic drums are a bit too snappy in that frequency range. The dialogue, the S's, whenever I can't really understand what he's saying, but I can understand that the S's are really hurting my ears because I have the speakers up quite loud. I would go through and I wouldn't just blanketly do it in your master. I would go through, figure out what the offending parties are, and then address those on a mix level, and then your mastering will be much easier. What do you think about Ozone mastering learning tool that generates? I've never used it, so I don't know. I assume it probably would do better than somebody who doesn't know anything about Ozone, but probably do not as good as somebody who has spent a couple days learning how to use Ozone. That's my uneducated opinion on it. Is that a mustache? That looks like a really nice mustache to me. Yeah, I would just be interested to see, like, what if we call this 100% loud, what would this sound like at 90% loud? Would it be, because there's like a lot of dirty stuff happening, especially on the kick and the clap or kick and snare. Like when the kick and the clap hit together, it is like crunchy bar. It's like a crunchy bar, and crunchy bars are amazing. But I just wonder what it would be like if it just was like back a little bit, you know? Besides that, I think it's a cool track. It's I wish I could understand the dialogue parts a little bit better, and maybe that would come with like pulling back the non-drop sections so that, because when I look at this waveform, I cannot tell where, I mean, it's literally just lighting up all of the pixels on my screen. So I can't really tell where the breakdowns and stuff are like visually on this. And that's kind of a telling thing. That's not to say that your breakdown sections need to be very, very quiet compared to it. But I think that you could probably pull it back a little bit, especially in the non-breakdown parts, and maybe make use of like low pass filtering some stuff so that when the dialogue, you kind of fade it down and then the dialogue does its thing and then the drop hits, because the dialogue is in there, but I promise you I could not understand a word of it. Should it be in there if I can't understand what it's saying? I don't know, maybe there are songs where I don't understand all the words and it's okay. But yeah, I think this is sick, and I think I would just try pulling it back a little bit. Okay, next up we got Maximum Power 5. Wow. And it's a shorty. Let's go. This is really cool, like kind of like an old school. It reminds me of oh man. This would be a good J. No, is it J? No. The hell is it Jay-Z? Oh, what's his name? He's a newer artist that's putting out like old school rap kind of sounding, but with like modern production. Liked songs. See if I can Joey Valence, this guy.
Used to be 4 seals, now V10s. As the money goes up, so do RPMs. I'm the dumb daughter.
Yeah, Joey Valence. He has some songs that have like that they're like old school hip hop, but they also incorporate some like more modern dubstep sounds and stuff. So that could be a good reference. Though this is a cool start. I think that the shaker, that's what that 10 kilohertz kind of big bump is. I'd probably take that shaker and dip down some of that 10 kilohertz resonant sound. Like, I don't necessarily think that the shaker is too loud. I just think that 10 kilohertz range where you can just see that line going across the whole way, I think that the 10 kilohertz in the shaker is just too prominent in the mix. When I dip it out in the master, it sounds easier on my ears, but we lose a lot of the rest of the instruments with it. So I would just do like a dip or something on the on the shaker track. So that we don't lose like the 10 kilohertz range out of everything else by doing it in the master. I would just dip it in the shaker. And then it's just a matter of like, keep going, because this is just a rough idea. I mean, it's not even a minute long, but I like where it's at right now. It's cool. It had my head bopping and my foot stomping. I think that's really the only feedback I got for you. It's a very cool idea. All right, now we got Punchline version 3. Okay.
man know what time it is around lunchtime. He cook the righteous bang for the punchline. I don't wanna hear no talk about one crime. One bang more than one time.
Okay, so we're very mono, but I think what I would suggest is build up like you did, and then take out the Prodigy sounding synth when it first kicks in. Have the drums, have the 808, have the vocal going, but take out that burr, 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 burr.
These man know what time it is around lunchtime.
Because it kind of, that burr, 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 that sound kind of sounds vocally. It's existing in the same kind of frequency range as the vocal. And it's also down the middle, and the vocal's down the middle. So it's almost like you have two different vocals happening at the same time, because that synth is kind of, it's acting as if it were a vocal in terms of the frequency range of it. So I would probably get rid of it when the vocal's going, and then I don't know what's going to happen after, but that was my immediate thought. I was like, oh, this would probably go harder if it was just like stripped down the vocal. It was more about the vocals and the beat, and you can add like cool like stabs and chords and like ear candy stuff like that. But I think the bow 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 and the vocal kind of clash.
These man know what time it is around lunchtime. He cook the righteous bang for the punchline. I don't wanna hear no talk about one crime. One bang more than one time. I love grime and I never like you. Watch what occurs when I find you. Ride on the beats I'm designed to. And my sick rude ways the sky blue really high, but the dark is clearly most of these MCs.
And then here you could maybe start like filtering it in. So maybe take it out altogether, but then at that point, halfway through the verse, have it low passed and start slowly sneaking it in underneath the vocal. How about I stereo the vocals, like panning left and right? Now, I wouldn't do that. If anything, if you want to spread stuff out, it would probably be the synth. I like vocals in the middle. Like vocals in the middle, that doesn't mean they have to be dead mono, but I think that vocals should always, I shouldn't say always, but for the most part, they should be in the center, because that's the center. That's where we expect the main thing to be, is right there, right? And that's not to say that you can't have some sections where the vocals go 100% wide for an effect or something like that. Oh, that's a good idea too. Maybe play with the octave like Kadia said. But I think at the start, when it drops into the beat, you did a good job at like introducing the ba 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 ba. So we already know it's there, and we know it's going to come back at some point. You don't have to have it right at the start of the verse. I think that should just be about the vocals. You do need to get some stereo imagery in here somewhere, and I'm not saying you need to put a stereoizer on the master or do any sort of dirty stuff like that, but there's not a lot of stereo width to the track.
Sky blue really high, but the dark is clearly most of these MCs fear me. Ask him again, can you hear me? Don't bring none of that weakish near me. Don't bring none of that weakish round here.
And I can't really understand the vocals because they're a little bit buried, and they're also conflicting with that synth. So getting rid of the synth is definitely going to help a lot in order to have the vocals be more intelligible, but you may also need to like bring them up in the mix a bit more.
Bring none of that weakish round here. Hey, pop, then put down your side, nine in the side, show no clowns here. That's not me, fam, that's not allowed here.
What in the fucking notification sound? I love it. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it just sounded like somebody got a text message on a phone from 2036. So the next thing, you can kind of see it here. Like you got this big hump of sub wave, sub bass frequency. But the rest of the track doesn't really sound that loud. Like to me, let's see if I do this. I agree. I think we've had a lot of really great, interesting tracks today. know. It's kind of tough. To me, it sounds like the it sounds like your chugs, like your bass chugs, aren't really chugging as much as they're just kind of existing or something. I don't know. To me, the drop, I noticed it right at the start here. That brum, 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 that thing kind of just sounded like a background element, but to me, that should be right in my face. It sounds like a main, like, sound design element. So I think mix-wise, pull back on the sub bass a little bit and try to push some of those like wubs a little bit harder into the mix. It's not way off, so don't go crazy, but yeah, I would try. So this section, to me, sounds like a good start, but we just listened to over 10 seconds of just kind of like a riser, more or less. I know there's more stuff in there. Not that you can't do that, but to me, it might be better if there was just like more stuff happening, or if that section was maybe shorter or something. I just kind of felt like I was waiting for the next section to happen. Even maybe a tat, 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 you know, like a snare thing or something. That might help. That might help.
These man know what time it is around lunchtime. He called the righteous bang for the punchline. I don't wanna hear no talk about one crime. One bang more than one time. I love grime and I never like you. Watch what occurs when I find you. Ride on the beats I'm designed to. I'm a sick rude boy, it's the sky blue really. I but the dark is clear.
Kind of sounds like Virus Syndicate.
I but the dark is clearly. Most of these MCs fear me. Ask him again, can you hear me? Don't bring none of that weakish near me. Don't bring none of that weakish round here.
So in the background, you kind of have this like sawtooth boop boop beep beep boop boop beep beep boop boop. To me, it's so low in the mix. It just sounds like it shouldn't be there. I feel like it's just not there. Like maybe take it out. Take it out or turn it up. It's kind of like shit or get off the pot, you know? I think there might be a better way of saying that. I'm not sure. But to me, it's just kind of like, why have it if it's that low in the mix?
Put down your side, man, in the side, show no clowns here. That's not me, fam, that's not allowed here.
I'd almost like, I don't know. I'd almost take out that maybe it's a square tooth, like a detuned square tooth. That's maybe what it sounds like. Yeah, it's probably it's like a super square. I would maybe take that out and go harder on the whatever that synth is. But I mean, otherwise, it's a cool track. Like, it's pretty badass. I hope that some of my random thoughts made sense to you and that you find your way to the promised land. I don't know what that means. Okay, let's check out Rayham's submission. Thank you for sending, by the way. That was a sick track. This one is called DWBA. Okay, wonder what that sounds like. That's very edgy for Cardio. Wow. The intro is great. I actually love the way you started it. I think that's a sick way of starting this track. Some of these distorted sounds are a bit harsh, like that kind of grill and bacon kind of sound. You want to get rid of the vocals? Why? Are you going to sing the same thing, though? Or like the same melody? I think the vocals sound great. Like they're all fucked up, but in a good way. I can respect that. I like that idea. I wasn't aware that these were stock vocals. I love how you had a Rayhem fake out that led into a Rayhem fake out that led into the actual drop. I love the vocal chops, especially that that. I think that's cool. Yeah, the track is sick, dude. Besides that bass being harsh and this middle section just being kind of boring, unless there was like a vocal there or something, it would be fine. I didn't really like the halftime fake out, but like, you know, you go girl or whatever. But yeah, the middle section sounds very placeholder to me. But the rest of the track's really fun and bouncy and interesting sounding. So I think that, you know, if you want to replace stock vocals with your own vocals or somebody else's vocals, like original vocals, you know how I feel about that. I think that's a great idea. And I do think that this track warrants some effort being put into it because I think it sounds dope. Let's see what the ending sounds like. The piano fire was done automated, the pre-delay on a reverb. I don't know what you mean. What piano? You mean like you mean like the character of that piano, how it sounds very like crispy and overcooked, swooshy? Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like it. It sounds very artistic. I like the intro. It's a good track. Yeah, it's very strange. It's like it's both inside my head and outside my head at the same time. It's an interesting piano sound. Okay, cool. I would definitely keep working on that one. Let's check this one out. I got a couple to download from the Discord. This one's called, well, it's spelt wrong, but Nuclear Fission. Wow. So this is an interesting track. I can't tell what key it's in, but it's techno, and it doesn't necessarily sound like the wrong key. It sounds like an interesting choice of combination of notes, but not necessarily in a bad way. On paper, I think that would be considered a bad thing. The fact that like we're not quite sure what key we're in, and we've got all these maybe potentially conflicting notes and chords happening. But in this specific example, it kind of just gives it kind of an eerie sound. So I'm not even really sure if I would necessarily change it. I don't know how many times I necessarily said necessarily there. It might have been an egregious amount. My bigger concern is kind of the arrangement. Once it got cooking, I was like, all right, now we're doing things. But I was a little, like, just even looking at this waveform, it kind of looks a bit strange. Because we kind of have, like, that's all fine. I think you have enough weird kind of atmospheric, creepy stuff happening where it's okay to have a simple intro like that. There's enough things for us to kind of get tied up in, and the phrasing is long enough that it doesn't just feel like a repetitive kind of kick drum intro. I think my bigger problem was between here and here. I think that we were starting to pick up steam, and then we lost all the steam and we had to build up the steam pressure again before we got to the actual drop. So I almost wonder if maybe, I don't know, like some other rhythmic element, or like the kick drum could keep going, but maybe it thins out. Maybe it thins out again, but then maybe that's weird that we went from a thin kick to a thick kick to a thin kick. To me, the flow of the track is a bit strange, and I know that the track is a bit strange on purpose, so that's maybe not a problem, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the track should flow a little bit better, like build and build and build and build kind of progressively in a techno kind of way. And that's not to say that you can't drop out and go to kind of like a breakdown section like this. I just wonder if that's the right time to do it. Let's see. I'm pretty new to producing hardstyle. I would not consider this hardstyle. Okay, let me just see what it sounds like if we just slam that there. Oh, that's not the right spot. Where's the start? Was it here? One sec. Okay, there's the actual start. Let's try this. And we'll make this unique. And then we'll just do like a crossfade, maybe? Maybe. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so I didn't line it up timing-wise right. I don't know. It's maybe worth playing around with. I'm not sure if this is necessarily... I got to stop using necessary. I got to improve my vocabulary. Let's try this instead. I kind of think that maybe you might need to change the notes in some parts because we're kind of... No. And then it's mostly that delayed out. That thing doesn't sound like it's playing the right note. And at first I was kind of like, maybe that's okay because it's a weird kind of techno-y track. But I feel like it would still be a weird techno-y track. It would just be better if that boom, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum thing was playing like the right note. So whatever the bass line is doing, whatever that note is, you should reflect that in that the higher frequency delayed out synth plucky thing. And just try to I don't know, see what it sounds like if you move some of the pitching around so that it adheres more tightly to a specific key. Underground probably. To me this is just like kind of just techno. Like it's just kind of straight up it's kind of the same as like the track that Jello and I made called High Cornucopia. Where that is. It's kind of similar, I think. If I search high. Okay, here we go. High Cornucopia. Sure, here we go. So like to me, I would just call this straight techno, but I know that I'm not the best with genres, but
there you go, Pilot, my man knows everything, huh? How's it gonna be, boys?
like this is quite a bit slower than this track, but like it's still kind of, to me it's like dark, maybe dark techno. I'm sure there's a subgenre within a subgenre within a subgenre. But yeah, I would try to make the arrangement flow a little bit more, like get us excited, rock out with us for a while, break it down, build it back up and rock out again type of thing. And then maybe go through and investigate what specific notes are being played on each of those instruments. And they don't all have to play the same note, but they have to be in the same key. Like maybe maybe it's playing a D, and then you want it to play, maybe that dingly dongly thing is playing like an F to be like a minor third above it, or I don't know, something like that. But maybe look into it and maybe shift some things around to see if it sounds better. But it's a cool techno track. It's very atmospheric. It makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. So I hope that's what you were intending. All right. Okay, we got 4L tagged master. I don't know why it's named that per se. It sounds like it means something, and I'm not sure what it means, but I'm sure it means something. Let's listen.
JMC, this shit crazy.
I'm Ray.
Musically, this is sick. This sounds like 28 Days Later, but trap style. But I feel like you've done some dirty stereo things. There's really not much in the middle. Like there's like this like glaring hole, and I heard it before I saw it. That's why I opened this up. But like there's like, I feel like everything is wide. So I think that putting some stuff in the middle would make better use of your available real estate. Because you can't make everything wide. Everything can't be on the side. We gotta have something in the middle. It's honestly, musically, it's dope. Groove, everything's sick. I just think that you went overboard on the stereo-ness. The only thing that's in the middle is the kick drum. And again, when I mix, I picture it as like I'm in the audience and I'm looking at a stage and all the supporting people are on the sides and maybe towards the back, but the main character is right in the middle, commanding my attention. And I don't really, you could argue maybe that there's going to be vocals on this and that's going to sit in the middle, but to me, it sounds like it's been stereoized. It sounds like it's got some stuff probably in the master bus to like make it more exciting and wide. And to me, it's a little overcooked in that sense. It makes the track feel a bit hollow or like kind of like fucked with, kind of like not solid, almost like I could phase through it, even though it's sound, and that doesn't make any sense. But it just sounds fucked with, and I think that that's probably because of a stereoizer of some sort. But it's really good. I think you just need to chill out on the stereo. That's basically my only, and then like continue writing it. To me, this sounds like something that somebody's going to sing on or potentially rap on, and just bass might fill it. Oh, it's already got like kind of like that detuned super saw. Why is it so low? It's in the key of B. That's why the bass doesn't sound that deep. Because we never quite moved down off of... Because if we did, it would be inaudible. But say you shifted it up to D sharp, and now you can play or even D. Like if you took the whole song, here's what I would do if I were you. I would change the key of the song to be in like D, which is up three semitones from B. So shift everything up 3 semitones. Now bring your bass line, your brooding kind of super saw, Reese detuned thing, bring that down an octave so that we get deep bass, and then chill out on the stereo. And I think that you will have a much better produced song. I could be wrong. It might be perfect the way it is, but I think at the very least, it's overdone on the stereo. Okay, cool. I'm beating off a dead horse. Let's check out the next one. This one is, it's been submitted 3 times, so I feel like it must be perfect by now. It's called Loved You for So Many Nights, but not during the day. That's interesting. Hold on, I gotta make sure I'm not doing stuff in the master bus because I can't remember if I did or not. B major, also very hard. Yeah, well, B is just in that awkward air. Anywhere from like, I would say from G sharp to C is kind of like no man's land for bass music, just because of the way the frequencies work out when you want to play it down low. But anyway, okay, so I'm not doing anything dirty, so let's listen. This is very cool, but what is this tiny, what is that very sharp dip? It's like there's like a single frequency that you're like, nah, we're not doing that frequency today. De-esser on the master?
I swear I would. Swept away in the wind in the dark. Feelings crawl out of my skin. We've been frayed by the bite of the bark. No fixing your part in no sin. Hide away in the fade of a spark. Leaving from deeply within.
So like the vocals are nice. I can't really follow them lyrically. Like I can't understand. Let me wait. Yeah, they're kind of so like affected and stuff. It's hard to understand them. What I would probably do is take a book from Rayham's submission, a page from Rayham's submission book. That's not confusing. If you maybe had a section that was dedicated to have Buddy singing the part, and then when it gets to the beat, maybe you just take the vocal and cut it up and use it as like an instrument as opposed to trying to like sing an entire verse over top of this drop. It might work better. It might be like here's like a chilled out part. Oh, it's a placeholder vocal. Okay, sure. Okay, then we'll just move on if it's just a placeholder. Did I skip too far ahead? Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. It's way longer than I thought it was. I think I was maybe at this little breakdown section. I thought I was there. You are blind, actually, but I did close it because I don't have all of the time in the world. But if you want to, here, I'll take one more. It's open now. It's right here. Production feedback stream, November 14th. What would it be like every once in a while? You know how it goes dun 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 dun. What if it did dun 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 dun? If it landed on that root note, I feel like, do we ever get the root note? I don't think we do. I think that might be a way of distinguishing different parts of the song. Because right now, this whole thing just kind of feels like the same groove. It feels like the same part with ear candy changing and effects and, you know, dropouts and turnarounds and drum fills and stuff like that. And it's not really bothering me that much, but I do think that you could maybe distinguish maybe certain parts of the song differently by going bum 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 bum. That would be like, oh, this is that part, right? Because, yeah, I mean, like, I love the bass line, but I kind of feel like it's starting to get a little old. Is that the end of a like a sample or something? Yeah, to me, it feels kind of like a run-on sentence at this point. And then maybe during some parts, it could just be bum, 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 just playing like the root note as opposed to the progression, just to get away from it every once in a while. Because I mean, we've gone like 3 minutes and the bass line, yes, you're switching up the way the production and the way the sound design, but if you look at it from a note perspective, it's playing the same notes the whole time, right? And like, I know the vocals are placeholders, but I do think that they are a bit harsh in that harsh area, like 3 to 5, 3 to 6 kilohertz. But yeah, going back to like the fact that the bass line never changes, to me, I can never quite tell where I'm at in the track. It's just kind of like, I'm just like grooving the whole time, but I get a little lost because I don't know when the next section is coming. I don't know what this section that I'm listening to is. So I really think that if you played around with the root note and you came up with maybe an alternative bass line that you could use periodically, then you start to create landmarks within the track for people to navigate and know where they're at. You know, they can hear it and be like, oh, here comes that part where it's going to go bum, 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 or whatever. It gives people a thing to look forward to, and it allows them to orient themselves in the track. So try that. Otherwise, very cool. I mean, like, I think the bass line must be really good because we listened to it probably, I don't know, 20 times in a row, and it didn't really get old, but it started to, and I think it just would be a stronger track if there was a bit of variety, a contrast between maybe two different bass lines. Okay, cool. Thanks for sending. Let's check out the last couple. This one's called Bicycle Remix F Major.
Tell me that you'll be alright. Can I take you for a ride? Oh baby, sweat it out. Ooh, ooh. Tell me that. It's you and me. Oh, bicycle. Yeah, you and me. Hold me tight, 'cause mine just stand by my side.
Singer got this and he's okay with it. I don't, what are you implying? That he's not really okay with it?
Oh, I can see through the night. Tell me that. It's you and me.
So far I got a couple thoughts. I think the bass line, you should allow more of the character of the bass synth to come through. Right now it's sounding almost like it is like a sub bass. It doesn't have much, like, there was one moment where we could hear the bass.
Tell me that.
Maybe right here. Yeah, bam, bam, bam. But throughout the rest of the track, I'm not really hearing much of the character of the bass. The next thing is the claps that are hard panned. They are maybe a bit too pokey outy. Like I think they poke out a little too much. He says the progression can be hard to follow.
You and me on my bicycle.
I mean, like, I could kind of see where he's coming from with the chord progression. To me, every chord is a spicy chord, you know, and it kind of, it almost relates to my comment on that last track where giving people landmarks to know where they're at. In this chord progression, every upbeat, I'm like, that's a new chord, that's a new chord, that's a new chord, that's a new chord. So I'm kind of, yeah, maybe he's onto something. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, but it is hard to predict what chord is coming next. So maybe instead of being super jazzy with it, you mix in a little bit of normalcy of like, here, that tension that we built with this last weird chord resolves into the next chord, and it's more of just like a a major chord or a minor chord with less color or something. It might be worth playing around with, because to me, it kind of, it almost sounds a bit like a Chromeo, like a slowed down, chilled out Chromeo song. But Chromeo uses a lot more predictable chord progressions. So I don't know that you need to de-jazzify yourself a whole lot, but it could be worth an experiment of like, what would a totally non-jazz person play for the chords? And maybe I can meet that halfway between where I'm at now and where it is there. Like, I don't mind any of the chords on their own. It just always is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's just like jazz, jazz, jazz. Especially towards the end, because I think you can get away with a lot of like kind of surprise turns, but at the end, if it doesn't quite resolve, then it almost feels like you're holding a sneeze or something. Like, I don't feel like the chord progression really resolved towards the end of the measure. It just kind of kept surprising me, and now we're back to the start. So maybe it's okay to be quite jazzy throughout the beginning and maybe towards the end, but maybe just the way that it finally resolves into like it resolves some of that tension that's being built up. Because, I mean, when you think about a jazzy chord, the thing that makes it jazzy is that there's a lot of tension in between the notes. A lot of times you'll have notes that are one semitone apart from each other. If you think about a seventh chord, that you're not getting the octave, you're getting it one step down from the octave. So there's always a lot of tension, and that's kind of what jazz chords sound like. But if you can resolve that tension, then it's like, we built up all this tension and then we resolved it. And that it's, again, I'll relate it to food. I think that's why, like, when you eat like a Sour Patch Kids gummy bear thing, the sour ones, the outside of it is sour, but the inside of it is sweet. So the experience is you put it in your mouth, you get hit with a bunch of sourness, but as you chew, you get into the sweetness, which resolves the sourness. And maybe that's part of the enjoyment of eating a Sour Patch candy, is that there's a journey, there's a conflict that gets resolved in your mouth. That's weird. And like the guitar solo, I don't know if you play the guitar solo or if somebody else played the guitar solo, but to me, the guitar solo is, it kind of, you can kind of feel that it seems just like kind of noodling around a little bit, because it's hard to, if the chords keep changing, even though you wrote the chords, they don't resolve. So to me, it just sounds like you're playing around. Doesn't sound bad, but it's not like a memorable melody. And I think guitar solos, great guitar solo, it's not that it's all hook, but it usually includes some hooks in there. So like you could do a crazy run or whatever, but it does the little motif from the previous part of the song, and then it rips that into a new part, but it goes back to that motif at the end. So it's kind of like balancing unpredictability and surprise with resolve and something that I can kind of anticipate in terms of melody. That chord, that one specifically, that sounds like something from like my Omni chord, or it's like a diminished or something. I don't love that specific chord. The groove is great, and most of the chord changes are great, but I would probably save it as a new file and then just totally like neuter the jazziness of it, to take it way too far into like normal pop 4-chord structure. See what it sounds like, and then try to figure out where between those two extremes of like hey, this chord has 14 notes in it, and hey, this is just a simple major chord. Like somewhere in between might be the optimal spot. But I do think that the chord progression is too complex, because I listened to the track and I don't think I could recall the chord progression. Even though I already listened to it, I would listen to it again and I would still be surprised when like the next chord hits. So anyway, take it with a grain of salt. If you love how jazzy and complex it is, then it's your art. But to me, I think that bringing it back a little bit and understanding how people react to tension and resolving that tension is probably going to be a good move. Okay, last one of the day. I got a piece so bad. This one's called I Have No Idea What I'm Doing. Okay. Is this Fami Synth? Are you using Fami Synth for the chiptune? This part is great. It's magical 8-bit. Okay, I never heard of that one. I like Fami Synth, but it crashes my computer every time I close a FL Studio project, so I have to kind of use it with caution. I didn't love the intro. I love where it went, but I didn't love the intro. Specifically that kind of like... That was a bit too spicy for me, to be honest. But once it got into like the break section with the chiptune stuff, I really dig it. What's up, orgies? We're all filled up for today. But I do it every Friday, so you can hop on next week if you want. We can all agree I didn't know how to do it. I mean... Why not just have a... why not just get into it? Is there any reason not to? You know? And then maybe something that you develop as you're finishing this track could be used as the intro. But I don't think there's anything wrong with just taking this first little bit and doing one of these where I go, I send it through some reverb. I record the output. Oh, I got to turn the reverb on. Okay. Okay, so I grabbed the reverb off of that first hit. I take this, I reverse it. That's gonna fuck that up. That's fine. And then I have this, and then I turn my reverb off, and now I have this. So then I can, and then maybe just shorten it to maybe this long. And now we have. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with starting the track like that. You could maybe get rid of the amen breaks for the very start, and maybe that's the intro. This, but without the amen breaks. Are these original vocals? The vocals are dope. Like, I would probably start with the vocals. I had... if somebody was like, do you think there's going to be vocals on this track? I'd be like, I would bet you $5,000 there's not going to be vocals on this track. Yeah, I don't like those spicy notes. They actually kind of change my heart rhythm a little bit. But I would, dude, like the vocals are the best part of this. Why not start with those? Why not build the intro around the vocals and then have it hit? There was one part. Bum, bum. That kind of the synth in the background, it just screams this, which I haven't listened to in a long time. It's a sick song, by the way, but that's funny that pad in the background kind of sounds like that. Great song. Anyway, sorry, back to your track. I'm not familiar with what your reference is, but I do like the effect on the vocal. I think it's appropriate for like this chiptune kind of influence style. But yeah, I think you're maybe underestimating how good the vocal is. I think that I would build the song around that vocal, and maybe you have to write more, and maybe that's a pain in the ass, but that is by far the best part. I think, in my opinion, the vocal is the best part, the chiptune melody is the second best part, and then everything else is under that. So I'd base the whole song around the vocals, start off with maybe just chords and vocals, and then tease at the melody, and then bring the melody in, and then give us the aim and break. It's an interesting combination of styles for sure. But I didn't like your intro, and I don't like the spicy notes. It just sounds wrong, but not like on purpose. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. Maybe it sounds beautiful to you and you should do it. And maybe you can make a hook out of what you already got here. Balancing the melody and vocals. Well, I don't think you should have the melody with the vocals. Like you don't hear. A portamento on a different instrument for D note. Better use D note on the tail of the reverb for that place only. For D note, better use. I don't know what that means. Portamento on a different instrument. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some cool stuff in here. I think you just got to rearrange it and build the track around what's important, which is the vocal. And again, it surprised the fuck out of me when you started singing. And I was like, okay, did not expect that, but it was a good surprise. But I don't think I should have a good surprise. I think you should lead with your best foot forward. Is that a saying that people say? And I think your best foot forward is the vocals and the melody. So, okay, that's it for today. My leg is bouncing up and down because of how bad I have to pee, but I did make it through an entire stream without peeing. So that's excellent. And I'm proud of myself. I think I'm good at making ideas, but I'm ass at arrangement. Well, the good thing about arrangements is if you like an arrangement of a song, it's literally telling you how to make that arrangement. You just look at the arrangement and copy it. And you're not copying the song. I mean, like how many pop songs goes verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus? Like that's not every pop song, but you know what I mean. You can pull some heavy inspiration from tracks that you like and straight up use it as a template. And then maybe you switch it up and you're like, okay, I want to double up this verse or whatever, but at least you can just look at an arrangement that you like and dissect it and, put it in an Excel sheet if you have to, draw it on a piece of paper. But if you can literally just look at an arrangement of a song you like and it's telling you how it's arranged. So don't feel bad about pulling inspiration, especially surrounding arrangements, because, I don't think there's anything wrong with basically ripping off an arrangement of a song that you like. It's an arrangement. It's like being like, I don't want to use a kick drum as a kick drum. I don't want to copy somebody using a kick drum. That's cheating. It's like, no, everybody uses kick drums as kick drums. I don't know if that makes any sense. Okay, I'm going to go pee before I die from peeing not enough. So I love you all. I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.